This is LOA Recon with Good Vibe Coach Jeanette Ma, where we explore the ins and outs of conscious creation to manifest our favorite dreams come true. Let's have some fun together. Welcome and thank you for joining me for another episode. There is something afoot in the world, well, more than one thing afoot in the world lately that some of us conscious creators might have lost sight of. So this episode is intended to remind all of us the incredible power of strong desire. That is a super force that nothing else can compare to. Mild desires do not fuel miracles and magic. Transformation does not come from half-hearted wishing. Quantum leaps, big breakthroughs, all of that comes from the powerful pulling force of intense desire. And you know where intense desire comes from? What many of us are living right now. Crazy contrast. Crazy big contrast. That's what charges up strong desire. Woohoo! And making this connection logically, consciously, can dramatically change our relationship with contrast. A friend of a friend was having a tough go of it lately where his partner called it quits on him, left him in a little bit of a lurch for his living arrangements, plus the guy's having medical issues on top of it. That's affecting his ability to work. It was not an ideal situation, to say the least, and he was really feeling the weight of it. And when I heard that, I just wanted to reach out and tell him, wow, buddy, better things are coming. Because that's what it means when things go to hell in a handbasket. It means things are about to get way better. Remember how I learned that from the massage therapist? That was an old episode. The time I got schooled about allowing, when she got fired from her job, she didn't know how she was going to make next month's rent. And she said, wow, something really good must be getting ready to happen. That was her response. Oh man, I love that. I think that's worth remembering. I didn't know how well my friend's friend could hear that when he was in the thick of it, especially someone who might not understand the role of vibration in our world. But for those of us who do, it is worth remembering how contrast works. The crazy darker it gets, the more light it's about to become. And the factor of how long it takes for that payoff to manifest itself is just, how long are we going to resist it? Because the sooner we get on board and say yes to what is calling us, the easier and the smoother the path to even better than before is. And make no mistake, something is calling us forward. When we're having this bad a time of it, something powerful is calling, something amazing, something miraculous. Which means when we really know this and trust it, we wouldn't have it wouldn't make sense for us to have any other reaction to contrast other than to celebrate what amazing thing is on its way. This isn't just theory. I've lived this. Okay, I didn't see it so clearly as it was unfolding, but in hindsight, it's easy to spot. Remember how much I loved my last house? I mean, I've loved all my houses, but that last one, I loved it so much. I mean, it was a gorgeous house to begin with on a really nice sized property. It was twice as big as the place I'd left before, so it felt like my own personal park. It had these gorgeous, mature trees and bushes. Oh, and there was an empty field behind it that someone kept their goats on, so I got to see baby goats every spring. I spent so much time at the fence, enjoying the goats. And it was a home to so many birds. I fed so many birds. I had great neighbors. I loved the location. And I had poured my heart and soul into that place with all the flowers that I planted and the weeding and the decorating, getting everything just right. I did not want to leave it. When it was time for me to no longer be in partnership with my ex, one of us needed to leave, and I didn't think it should be me. So my plan was I was just going to wait that guy out. And that meant I was tolerating some wild contrast with him in that house because he didn't want to go either. One day he threatened my cats in an attempt to get me to leave. He said, if you don't leave soon, who knows, maybe your cats might just turn up missing. Oh, I called the police on that day. I wanted him to be on notice that there were consequences for making threats like that. Yeah, so then the next day he called the police. He said I made him feel unsafe in the house. And I mean, we're getting to some pretty wild contrast. I think it might have been the police's third visit to the house where one of the officers was screaming in my face, like right in my face. He was standing way closer than a person should stand to you. And he was screaming in my face, "You will die if you don't leave." He was screaming that to me. And I was like, oh, buddy, I think you're being a little dramatic. Then, not too long after, one day Oh, I can't remember. I think we're having a fight over the air conditioning. He had taken the controls off or something, so I couldn't change the air conditioning. And as he was walking down the stairs, I threw my laptop at his head. I was aiming for his head, and I threw it with force. I didn't hit him. I hit the banister instead. But in that moment, I realized that cop might be right. Someone's life might be in danger here. I didn't think it was mine, but that's when I knew I needed to go because I have too many cats to go to prison. So I decided, all right, if I'm leaving, I'm going to make it worth it. I am going to get a better gig than this. And I didn't know how that could even be because I loved it so much. It was so perfect. I wouldn't change anything except for his presence there. So it was really hard to tear myself away from that house, but the threat of prison convinced me that I should go. Not murder, mind you. Prison was the deterring factor for staying in that house. So I just decided somehow, some way, this is going to get better for me. I don't know how, but universe is good at this stuff. So all I got to do is let it do its thing. All I got to do, my own self, is be in the mood for even better. Just line up with some new possibilities and it will deliver. And oh my gosh, did it deliver. I've talked about this before, so I will not elaborate, but oh my gosh, it delivered so well. It delivered so amazingly good that once I realized what was happening for me, I hadn't told my ex yet what was cooking, but he must have sensed a shift in my vibration because one day he said, "Do you just want me to go?" But by that point, as I knew what was unfolding for me, I was like, no, I am not staying. That thing that I had been fighting so hard to keep, once he put it within reach, I was like, absolutely not, because I knew what was coming was so much better that it was crazy to think that I would stay there. And it was so much better on so many counts. I mean, it did cost money. It wasn't free by any means, but I could afford it. And I ended up living this dream come true that had been in the back of my mind just way, way, way in the back. I entertained it like a maybe one day, maybe someday, if I'm lucky enough, if I played all my cards right, maybe when I retire, if I had a perfect partner, we could have a lifestyle like this. Ooh, it wasn't someday material. That was now. Universe said now. And I said yes. Woohoo. I look back on it now and I feel ridiculous that I dug my heels in for as long as I did. Y'all, that routine was not a couple months. It was longer than that. But it also wasn't wasted contrast because remember, the worse it is, the better it's about to become. And the truth is, that whole time that I was in that deep, deep, deep contrast with police screaming in my face and flying laptops through the air, this couple, they couldn't sell their house. They had their house on the market for like a year, but they kept dropping the price on it, which put it within reach for me. So hello, yay. Anyway, that's one example, but I've got another one from my work. Once upon a time, I was working my dream job, talking to people about best practices for managing their money long term. I loved that job so much. There was not any other job that I wanted. Every year in my annual review, I would tell my manager, yeah, I don't aspire to anything else. This is the job I want. I don't want to do anything else. And I made great money doing it. I had great clients. I loved the work that I was doing. They loved me. I mean, it was perfect. Well, I didn't love that I had to leave my dogs at home every day and the dress code, wearing suits every day. That wasn't my highest joy, but mostly I really loved it until they fired my most amazing, excellent manager, the best manager there ever was, Kim Stevens. And that changed everything for me. Well, I know why they got rid of him, because they had a new plan and he did not fit in it. Turns out I did not either, because they were changing their business model, which had been focusing on excellent customer care, but now that was getting stripped away. Just make the sale and move on. I actually got written up for answering a service call from a client. On that day, I knew these guys are fixing to fire me. So I knew I needed to leave. This job that I had loved so much had turned into wild and crazy contrast. So I got a job with the competition first, and that was a dream job. That was a job that was made for me, except it was super high pressure. Oh my gosh, high pressure. Management was ruining that dream job with incredible pressure, and I knew that I was not going to make myself suffer doing that for very long, so I needed a new game plan yet again. And by this time, I knew what I really wanted to do, but it was a job that didn't exist. I wanted to talk to fellow creators about their manifesting powers. But that wasn't a job that you can apply for, at least not 25 years ago. Times are changing. Probably exists in many forms now, but back then, I knew I was going to have to create it for myself. And I had never aspired to be a business owner. No one in my family did that, except one aunt who had a retail store, which didn't last long. Just people in my world did not do wild and crazy things like this, at least not successfully. Everyone knew, including me, that it would be crazy for me to leave a six-figure job that I had spent so many years building up. I had so much training, so much experience, so many licenses, and a really, really good reputation in the field. It would be insane to walk away from everything I'd built over all those years. For what? To fail as a life coach? Because that's what seemed like the title of this job was going to be. Coaching was just becoming a thing, and I thought, well, that fits what I want to do, a law of attraction coach. But in coach training, they told us, most of you will fail. These were not LOA savvy coach trainers, I will add. It was pretty early in the industry. But they were teaching us that most of you will fail. The few of you who are lucky enough to succeed aren't likely to make more than 30 grand a year, so don't quit your day job if you have to make more than that. So look, this did not look like a smart bet, but the contrast in the corporate world was incredible. And eventually I realized I wasn't going to know peace in my heart until I at least tried to follow this dream that was in my heart. Because honestly, talking about conscious creation, it would not let go of me. It was an idea that I could not shake. Despite a couple years of trying to ignore it, it did not die down. So I figured, worst case scenario, if this doesn't work, then I'll just get a different job, one that I don't hate so much, and I'll still be better off than I was before. But I also knew that I had an ace up my sleeve because I'd been playing with conscious creation long enough to know that if anyone could make this work, it was me. Because I know how to play with universe. I speak its language. We're tight. I know how it rolls and I know how to roll with it. So I started a coaching practice. I used what I knew about conscious creation with some support from a super LOA savvy mentor coach to start my business. And in 3 months, I had a full roster of clients. Dream come true. And by my second year, I was on track to replace the six-figure job that I had been afraid to quit all that time. Ooh, in fact, you know what Gina said to me? She said, the thing you're afraid to walk away from is what you're actually walking toward. She was right. And y'all, it's happening again right here and now for us with the things that we've been resisting. Anyway, I've been making a great living as a law of attraction coach for something like 2 decades. And I've only ever, well, other than the first year when I was getting started, I've only ever made more money in coaching than I ever made in corporate world. And I'm positive that's because it's always easier to succeed at whatever it is calling us, whatever our soul's purpose is, than anything else. This is my dream come true, talking to you right now. This is it. And can you believe I dragged my feet getting here? Can you believe it? It seems ridiculous looking back on that. What was I thinking? But we know what I was doing. I was building up incredible contrast. Because it wasn't until it got bad enough that I couldn't do it anymore that I was willing to pull the trigger and do the wild and crazy thing of following my dream. What I'm saying is great contrast creates great desire. It gives us such good fuel to get to way, way better. That's the power of a strong desire. It takes us places that mild desire can't. Half-hearted desire doesn't have the power. It's like the difference between a Ninja H2R superbike versus a tricycle. I've been watching a bunch of motorcycle videos or reels online lately. Did I tell you I used to hang out with bullet bikers? Oh my gosh, they are such cool people, at least the ones that I knew. But it seems to me like all of them are. They are part of such a tight-knit community. I really admire that about them. Anyway, the Ninja H2R, I don't know if it still is, but back in the day, it was the fastest production bike on the market. Not street legal, at least not in the US. The reviewers said about it, not for the faint of heart. Yeah. That thing, there's an old video on YouTube, I bet it's still there, of them going on the bridge. They're setting the world record, 400 kilometers per hour. Oh, in like under half a minute, y'all. That is crazy, crazy, crazy fast. People on a bike, it doesn't seem like they should be going that fast. I understand what the reviewers meant when they called it not for the faint of heart. And that also applies to our crazy contrast. It's wild. It's extreme. That's by nature. It's big and it can feel overwhelming. I mean, hello, kitty's gone missing. Laptops flying through the air. Bosses trying to fire you. The police screaming in your face that you will die if you don't leave. This is what big contrast does for us. It hurtles us into amazing dreams come true. A little desire leads to a little manifestation, which is still fun. That's all good. Sometimes that's our favorite thing. We like it mild sometimes. But it is not knocking anyone's socks off. It's fun, easy stuff. We'll say yes to it all day long, but it is not the game changer. Huge desire is where miracles and magic comes from, and huge desire comes from huge contrast. I'm saying big contrast takes the party to a whole new level when we let it, when we know how to roll with it. We got to know how to navigate that turmoil, and that just basically means don't resist it, don't fight it. Instead, say yes to it like you picked it. That's like the ultimate standard of non-resistance, but we don't really have to reach that high a level in order to let it work for us, to let it take us to the other side where all the payoffs are, all the good things, all the dreams come true, even bigger than you knew how to dream, even bigger than you thought was possible. But you know what? Even when we're not in that routine, even when we are still fighting it, still in resistance to the contrast, that's okay too, because all we're doing is building up more pressure that makes it that much better when we finally do let go. And we're going to let go sooner or later because we can't keep up that battle forever. It's exhausting. It will cost you everything if you do it for too long. And the good news is we each get to decide when we're ready to drop the gloves and let in some relief. It's totally our call. So there's nothing ever gone wrong. And anyone who has been through this routine knows how it turns out. Something amazing is coming. And I'm not just talking about world politics right now or the climate crisis or planetary well-being, social justice, world wars. I'm also talking about personal stuff like a health diagnosis or a financial situation. Anything that's big contrast for you means something amazing is cooking for you. And we could say yes to it today. We could look forward to where it's taking us. Just like that crazy ninja bike propelling us into tomorrow. That's how fast that thing goes. Oh my word, so insanely fast. So for anyone who feels like you've got insane contrast in place right now, oh man, am I excited for you. It's like you just got yourself a ninja bike sitting in your garage, ready to take you to places you couldn't go otherwise. So how do we get there? Once more, with feeling. All we got to do is turn into whatever feels better. Over and over again, rinse and repeat. Instead of letting gremlins or naysayers tell us why it's not possible, it doesn't work that way, or whatever they're saying, we turn into it. We say yes to it. Oh my gosh, just like on the bikes. Like when those bullet bikers taught me how to ride, which I sort of already knew because my dad had a motorcycle, so I'd ridden before, but I showed up there with a beginner's mind. When I let this crew teach me how to ride, they said, you've got to lean into the curve, not away from it. You've got to lean with your driver, or I do not get to ride with him. And it doesn't seem natural. Like your tendency is to maintain some stability when you're on a bike, and they turn, like you kind of want to go the other way to make sure you don't tip over. But no, that does not work. You've got to lean with them, not the opposite way. You've got to go with them. You've got to lean into it. And that's what we do here too with our contrast. We lean in, we use it, we leverage it, we don't resist it because fighting it isn't going to get us to the payday. It just perpetuates the pain. So we put our attention on where this is taking us, even if we can only do that by thinking one better feeling thought after another. I don't mean to say only. One better feeling thought after another, that's the gold standard. That's all it takes. Some call those BFTs for short. You know, those first better feeling thoughts, they might not sound very good. They might not look pretty. We might be going through some rough-looking neighborhoods in the beginning, like maybe rage or revenge. There could be a few flying laptops, who knows? That's because when we feel disempowered or when we're in grief or fear, the thing that feels better first might be something like, F you, F them, F everyone, screw this party. Or maybe it's a flavor of revenge, like you are gonna be sorry, you're gonna regret this, you will pay. Like I said, some rough neighborhoods, but it's an improvement over feeling despair or hopelessness or disempowerment. A little rage can serve really well when you've been feeling depressed or fearful or powerless, but we don't stay there. We keep reaching for what feels better after that. And then after that, and then after that, until pretty soon, we're in a state of love and appreciation and excitement. We just want the whole world to be as happy as we are because we're living one dream come true after another. Isn't it a cool system? Look, I've been in this contrast routine lately myself on more than one topic, but that's why I'm reminding all of us how this works. The same way I wanted to tell my friend's friend who had all those troubles afoot that, wow, buddy, things are about to get really good for you. I wanted to remind myself that, and you that, because we know how this works, and we're good at working it, right? Right. Here's to working it like the LOA pro that you are. Thanks for listening, everyone, and happy manifesting.